Okay, so the last type of angle we're going to talk about is the vertical angle. So we're going to look at what the vertical angle theorem states. Let's take a look at the reading. X marks the spot. Okay, so vertical angles aren't nearly as fun to find as buried pirate treasure, but fortunately you don't have to sail the 7 seas to find them. All you have to do is look for the x. No, not the variable, but the intersecting lines in the form of an x like this. All you have to remember is that angles on opposite sides of the x from one another are equal, like this. So angle 1 has the same measurement as angle 3, and angle 2 has the same measurement as angle 4. Pretty easy, huh? Here's an easy hint. It's impossible to draw a diagram without the vertical angles looking equal. So for vertical angles, if they look equal, they are equal. Watch. If you draw this line and intersect it with this line, you're creating two pairs of congruent angles or equal angles that are across from each other. So they have the same size and the same shape. Angle 1 looks like it has the same measure as angle 3, doesn't it? Yep, you say they both are acute. Matey, you'll walk the plank for calling me angles cute. Okay, so maybe you won't be shark food, but you are correct. Also, angles 2 and 4 look the same and they both look obtuse. By the way, just remember, you can't count on an angle being a certain measure just because it looks like it. In this case, we are only saying they look equal, so they will be, but angles that look acute might not actually be. Great, let's find some problems with vertical angles. Find the measure of x for each of these problems. So here, find the measure of x. If this angle is 138 degrees, then this angle, x, also has to be 138 degrees because of the vertical angle theorem. These two angles wind up being the same. For this one, this angle is 75 degrees, so this angle is also the same because of the vertical angle theorem. Let me prove it to you. I'm going to use our favorite thing, patty paper. I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to trace over this angle here, this diagram. So I traced over the two lines. Let me use a little bit darker so we can see it. Here's the 75, and here's x. So with patty paper, remember we can just spin it. So I'm going to spin this. And notice, look what happens when I spin it. This goes directly over the position of the opposite angle. So this makes these angles are the same measurement. They're congruent. They have the same size and the same shape. That's how the vertical angle theorem works. So let's look at some practice problems. I'm going to do number 1. I'll let you finish the rest of these on your own because these are relatively easy. For each angle, you're going to state the angle relationship and find the value of x. So write out the equation and the relationship. So here, I know x equals 121 degrees because of the vertical angle theorem. These are vertical angles, so right away I know these angles are equal to each other. So these problems on this sheet are pretty easy. You can use the bottom to help you fill in and check your answers. But these are pretty straightforward. The ones that are a little bit harder are like number 7. Take a look at number 7. We know these are vertical angles because they're in the opposite positions of each other on a figure that looks like an x. But remember, the relationship says that this angle is equal to this angle. So I set it up, x plus 45, that's this angle, is equal to, so there's an equals in between, 2x plus 19. So there should be a little plus sign here. There's a typo. So to solve this, I have to bring over the x to the other side. So I'm subtracting x from both sides. Because what happens then, the x's on this side cancel out, and I have two x's, take away one x, which is just x. Now this is like the old algebra problems we've had. I can just subtract 19 and get my answer of 26 degrees. So with these ones, I'll set up the next one for you, and I'll have you finish it on your own. You're setting the angles equal to each other. Remember, this is different from complementary and supplementary angles because complementary angles should add up to equal 90 and supplementary angles should add up to equal 180. When these angles are in this position, when they're the opposite sides of each other, they are equal to each other. So here, to solve this equation, I would subtract x from both sides and get 13 equals x minus 23, and then I can add 23 to both sides. So I get 36 degrees equals x. Then I can highlight that on the bottom to make sure I got my answer right. Try 9 through 12, and then I have some extra practice problems with all types of angles, complementary, supplementary, and vertical.